Good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock and it's Wednesday and it's summertime. It's August. And that means all of those things means it's time for Elevenses with the reps at Diesel Bookstore. Good morning again, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful start to August. It's hot, and we've got hot books to talk about every Wednesday. As you know, we get together here with our fabulous publishers representatives and our booksellers, and we talk about all of the super exciting upcoming releases and sometimes old favorites and pretty much anything book related we want to talk about. But mostly it is mostly we're talking about what's new and what is dropping right now. And it's been an amazing summer on the heels of an amazing spring, and I can tell you that the fall is going to be huge. There's so many great books coming up. Anyway, we have three absolutely fabulous reps who are here to talk about it, and I'm going to introduce them in a moment. But first, I'm going to tell you that Joey is going to pop up the link for all the events that are coming up in the store, which, alas, once again, I can't seem to access. Otherwise, I would tell you about them, but the link is going to be there in 1 second. Oh, no, Joey can tell you about them. Right, Joey? Joey. It's live TV. All right, there is the link. Um,
I sure can. Yeah. So
go ahead.
tonight we
Ah,
have
there he is.
we have so tonight we have Tom Mount and Gerald Petevich uh, discussing. It's a dual event, so they each have their own book that they are going to be talking about, and it's Rafferty Returns and 13 Hillcrest Drive. That is tonight at 6:30, and then next is going to be on the 8th. It is Mancy Shaw and Lynn Lau Butler, and they will be discussing Saving Face and the Fourth Daughter. It's another dual event, so that should also be really fun. And then on Sunday, it will be Carla Malden, and she'll be discussing her new book, Playback. So that's what's coming.
Thank you
And
so
then,
much, Joey. I appreciate
yeah.
it. I don't know why I can't access it, but we just love seeing you anyway. So thank you for popping on. And then all of the rest of them are there as well, going into the future. All right, who's with us today? We have Dave Ehrlich from Chronicle Books. Always great to see you, Dave. We have the wonderful Julia Callahan from Hachette, and always wonderful to see you, Julia. And it's always wonderful to see Brittany Greenway from Macmillan. We don't get to see Brittany very often, so I'm glad you're joining us today, Brittany. Brittany, why don't you start us off?
Okay. So I have a couple different things today. Tried to mix it up a bit. Deborah, you talked about how fall is just stacked, and it's so true. Our Macmillan's fall is just really good this year. I'm kind of in the midst of wrapping up all of my meetings, and every single call I've gone into, everyone's like, the catalogs are so good. And I keep hearing from everyone, it's across the board. Every publisher has a great fall list. So, everybody, you've got wonderful books to look forward to from everyone this fall. But today I want to talk about some of the books that we published towards the end of the summer. Some of them have a little kind of creeping into fall vibes to get you ready for the next season. And the first one is a children's title from Bloomsbury, and it's called The Nightmares of Finnegan Quick. And it is a middle grade horror novel about a young boy whose nightmares come to life, and he has to learn how to face his fears. So it's kind of funny. I feel like it works for the Goosebumps readers. It does have some creepy moments, but largely it's kind of an adventure book. It's a friendship book, and it's a book about learning how to conquer the things that you're scared of. And what I love about this book is that it is a trade paperback original. So it has a little bit of a lower price point, $10.99. it jumps you into the action really early on. So I think it's great for reluctant readers, kids who maybe can't deal with a lot of lead up to the events in a book. This is exactly geared towards kids who maybe have the attention span that's not conducive to longer reads. It tops out at 256 pages. So again, really kind of gets you with a fast-paced, page-turning plot. And I do think that it is a nice kind of Halloween adjacent title, but I also don't think that it has to be just for Halloween season, but kind of a nice little entry into spooky season as we get closer to fall.
Spooky season, and I appreciate that you have the pumpkin with the, is it like it's like got Mickey ears?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's I just moved and I had like I'm in a room where this is like the corner that's organized and everything else is just boxes and chaos. And that was on top of like a bag of seasonal throw pillows and stuff.
Perfect.
And I was like, oh, well, you know what? We're getting close enough. I'm from the Midwest and we start rolling out Halloween pretty early where I grew up.
I mean, I think saw Halloween candy, like at Easter. I think that's right after Easter they brought out the Halloween candy. So this is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect. And also, I feel like whenever kids are going back to school, we start ramping up for Halloween anyway. And Julia's nodding. And they're back to school, a lot of them this week. So it's really early. So perfect timing. Great for 250 pages is nice. That's enough to sink your teeth into there. So to keep them reading for a while as well. So perfect. A great start. Thanks, Brittany. Julia.
All right. Well, my first book is this is like a house favorite at Hachette. This is called Seduction Theory by Emily Adrian. And it's one of those books, it's like back last year sometime when we first started having, fall books sort of percolate, getting the first sales team reads on them. This was the book that everyone was like, you must read. They were correct. So this is, it's about an MFA program. And it's about these two professors in this MFA program, and they are married to each other. They're a man and a woman. They're married to each other. And they each have different kinds of affairs within their marriage. So the man sleeps with an assistant, but the woman has this emotional affair with a female student in the MFA program. And the book Seduction Theory is that female student's MFA final paper that she is turning into the board, which includes to graduate with her MFA, which includes, of course, both members of that couple. So it is absolute mess. It is a delight to read. It is sexy. It is fun. My girlfriend came over one day and I was doing laundry and she literally sat on my couch and read the whole thing cover to cover. And then I read it I think I had to do 2 sittings. But it is just the most fun. You will have a blast with this book. It's literary, it's juicy, it has something to say. As someone who grew up in a university, basically, my mother worked at a university for 40 years. I will say I got one complaint when I was selling this book, which is like, can that many MFA students and professors really be having these kinds of affairs? And I'm here to tell you, yes. We have many less books than the amount that actually happens. My mom worked in HR at a university, so I heard a lot of stories. But anyway, so this is just, you will have the best time with this book. You absolutely should pick it up. Seduction Theory by Emily Adrian. It comes out next Tuesday.
So like Brittany mentioned, the cover, I have been obsessed with this cover since the minute I saw it. It's a detail from that painting, which I can't remember the name of the painting right now, but it's a famous painting, and it shows up whenever there's like, some sort of like a hanky panky
Chaos. Yes.
chaos. Yeah, exactly. So it's operating on lots of different levels because it's like literary theory and all of that. This is so clever. It's such a clever book. I love a clever book, like a book within a book kind of a thing, a metafictional angle, all of that. It's got all of that. Plus, it's just so much fun to read, and it's escapist, it's juicy, but it's, plays with form, all of those things. So I'm not all the way through it yet, but as soon as I saw that as soon as I saw the galley, I grabbed it, the e-galley here. So I'm just starting it, but it's super fun. Not to be missed. That's a great start for you too, Julia. I'm not surprised it's a house favorite.
Yeah.
All right. Next week on sale, Seduction Theory. All right, over to you, Dave.
Okay, thanks, Deborah, and thanks, Diesel, for having me. I'm going to start off today, per usual, with a food book. I want to mention that all three of the books I'm talking about today were released yesterday. So I lucked out and had a bunch of timely releases. And two of these three books, including my first one, are very Northern California and Bay Area specific. But I also think they work as great California titles. So without further ado, this is a book I talked about a couple weeks ago on the All Cookbooks edition of
How fun was that?
How fun was that? It was so much fun. I loved it. And I knew I wanted to talk more about this because it was 2 weeks away from release 2 weeks ago. And here we are. It is out, Feasts on the Farm. This comes to us from Tamara Jo Hicks and Jessica Lynn MacLeod with a foreword by Alice Waters, which was a great score. These are over 60 seasonal recipes and stories of sustainable farming from the Tomales Farmstead Creamery in Marin County. I think it's 160 acres. Goat and sheep farm, entirely based on sustainable farming and sustainable agriculture, treating all of these goats and sheep humanely, and celebrating both at the farm and in this pages of this cookbook, celebrating the cheese they produce. Goat cheeses, brined fetas, there's another name for like a dry salted aged cheese. But those are the three primary kinds of cheese they produce at the farm. Here is Tamara with one of the baby goats. The book is full of adorable, well, not only delicious recipes, but amazing goat photography. Pictures of the farm. There are essays throughout about the life with goats and how lovely that is, and what a beautiful space the farm is, the way they connect with their community. They do cheese making classes at the farm, which I would love to go take one. And all of these recipes are built around using these cheeses. You don't have to use the Tomales Farms cheeses, but we would love it if you did. And they, of course, would love it if you did. But you can source any of these cheeses at, your local cheese stores, Trader Joe's, etc. I'll show you some of these really amazing recipes with kind of a great California twist. This is a farmer's panzanella salad. Of course, the salad with chunks of bread in it, but then this also uses a feta-style cheese. Recipes dedicated to the small joy of dragging a crisp slice of sourdough along the bottom of a salad bowl to scoop up the remaining bits of dressing and greens. A panzanella salad is awesome because all those bits of bread are actually in your salad bowl to soak everything up and be extra delicious. There are a few meat recipes. These are slow braised lamb shanks with an apricot couscous. Holy cow. Amazing. And that also uses the feta-style cheese. There are beautiful platters, things like this stone fruit and flowers platter, very spring and summer forward, using kind of local produce. And that's a big point of this book, is teaching you how to use seasonal produce and also locally sourced produce in these recipes, along with these really special cheeses to create these beautiful recipes. And then I think this is maybe the one recipe I most want to try in this book is roasted Dungeness crab with a citrus herb butter, which looks just dreamy beyond compare. So it's a really beautiful book, came out yesterday. Something that, again, is very specific to Marin and Northern California, but anybody that loves cheese, produce, fresh fruit, and of course, goats and sheep, and the state of California cuisine can love feasts on the farm.
So when we did the special cookbook, Elevenses, and if you missed it, it's posted, so you can watch it, and you can see Dave talking about all of these amazing books. I'm so hungry right now. I haven't had breakfast, so of course now I'm starving. But when we talked about this a few weeks ago, I just was saying I'm anything that highlights goat cheese and this kind of. I mean, who isn't a cheese fan? Can you not be a cheese fan? I mean, everybody's a cheese fan. But I especially find those kinds of cheeses extremely versatile. You can pretty much put them on anything, and then combine them with anything. And I was like, yeah, no, totally. This is a cheese. Yes, even people who can't eat cheese love it. Exactly. No, it's true. It's different, you know. It's not goat cheese is goat, you know, it's from goats. So yes. Oh, thank you, Joey. So Joey's put up there if you want to have a look at the cookbook. We really had some fun. If you really want some ideas, there's some great cookbooks there. But this one looks fantastic, and it's some great combinations. Really super super excited about this book, and it's just I love the California angle, as I always do. So it's good. It's laid back eating, you know. You just throw some stuff together. Thank you, Dave. And also like your t-shirt, Dave.
I'm doing a rock book in a minute, so I've got this on.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
We'll get to that.
All right, Brittany, back to you.
Okay, so my next one is a YA title. It's called Codebreaker. And I should also note that all of the books that I'm talking about today are out. And this one came out, I think, on July 22nd. So it's been out for a couple of weeks. But what I love about this one is it is a YA, but I think it can skew a little bit younger. I think you can comfortably give this to a middle school aged reader. I like to think of it as perfect for anyone who enjoys a National Treasure style story. The main character is a teen girl. Her dad is basically, he's kind of disappeared. He's a fugitive on the run, and there are government agents looking for him. And so she has to go on this kind of exploration mission throughout DC to try and find these hidden messages that have been left behind in order to find her dad and stop a deadly attack. So it's kind of like a spy thriller adventure book for teens with a race around Washington, D.C. So it really hits on action adventure, which I feel like we don't see a ton in YA. There's always a lot of fantasy. There's always a lot of like whodunit type books. But this is really like, let's go. It's like Jack Reacher for teens. I think it's got a lot of reluctant reader appeal. It's a trade paperback original, and it is only 384 pages. So I feel like for YA, that's kind of on the shorter end of things. And I do think that it has broad appeal for all types of readers. And like I said, it kind of bridges that upper middle grade, lower YA audience. So I think you could give it to a 12, 13, 14-year-old as well. So it's not just fully for like an older teen reader.
That's, you know, I feel like writers who are writing in that zone there, kind of in between middle grade reader, upper middle grade reader, and lower YA, it's kind of a, you know, a Wild West type of area, right? At least for me, in my experience, what I've seen, because there are a lot of teenage girls are obsessed with murder. Yeah, well, that's true. And yeah, I would also like to see a pivot to cryptography, but sometimes they're more sophisticated readers, so they can, you know, they can definitely handle writing that's a little bit more sophisticated, but theme-wise, they're still on the younger end, and a lot of them are still shopping with their parents, and, you know, who want to know what kinds of themes are in there. And a lot the YA stuff is, you know, it's pretty serious thematically. Often I find the themes in YA novels are more intense than adult novels, like they're right out there. So for those readers, that's a little bit harder. So this is perfect for that kind of in between zones. I think it'll do really well. Because there are a lot of readers right in there, and Joey's right. It's nice. Puzzles are good. Let's get off the murder for a second, and look at puzzles. I think that's a great idea. And this is a great cover. I love it. I think this could be a really perfect diverting sort of late summer read as you're going into back to school. So perfect. Thanks, Brittany. All right, Julia.
Okay, well, my next one is also it's literary fiction. You might call it a bit of satire, but it's this is called A Dog in Georgia by Lauren Grodstein, and this is her follow-up. It's not a sequel, just a follow-up book to oh shoot, I always get the title of her previous book wrong. We Must Not Think of Ourselves, which was a read with Jenna Pick when it came out. A Dog in Georgia is this one is really sort of funny. So it's about this woman who she is married to a chef. She used to be a chef. That's how they met. But then she stopped working and she became a stay-at-home mom. Her kids are a little bit older and so don't really need her as much. So she's feeling fairly like useless in her life, and she's feeling kind of empty. And one day she goes to YouTube and she falls down this rabbit hole, and she ends up seeing this dog on the streets of the country of Georgia. That's the titular Georgia. And she decides on a whim, she is going to go rescue this dog on the streets of Georgia, of Tbilisi, Georgia. So she does. And it's at some points touching. There's like a hint of Where'd You Go, Bernadette, or Eleanor Oliphant is Totally Fine. Both of those books. That's sort of the feel of this book. Where there's someone making slightly chaotic decisions, but with the sort of best of intentions. And, there's some satire about sort of like this, she's obviously wealthy enough to be able to just fly to Tbilisi, Georgia on a whim and go try to find this dog. But also she sort of does have the best of intentions, and also maybe is feeling like at least something in this world needs her. So there's a lot going on in this book. I will spoiler that the dog lives. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that we're all safe there. But it's just a real delight. It's a fun book to read. I think it's one that I know, Joey, we assigned the ending to one particular rep who was very scared, because we sort of read chunks of the book, and so someone needed to make sure that the dog did live. So I assure you it does. But yeah, the writing is charming. The woman at the center of it is I don't know if charming is the right word for her. She's fascinating. And this story is fascinating, and I really think that you'll have a good time with it. I think it's good for a beach. It's good for a couch in front of a fire if you get to it, as it starts to cool down. But it is just a real great novel.
I don't know how I missed this one, actually, Julia. This one got by me, and I saw it in your picks, and I was like, huh. I looked.
I'm not doing my job well enough, Deborah.
No, I mean, you can't. I always feel bad when I don't know every single book in the store, and and you. I mean, some of them get by, but it looks great, because it looks again like a book that you can completely, just sink into and escape into. And as Joey said, that is an important spoiler to have. I mean, I had a really, really great reader friend who, would recommend books for me all the time, and I recommend books for her. But her question was, does the dog die in every book? And if the dog died, that was it. She was out.
She's like, nope, don't want to read it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, did I miss a comp? I'm trying to think, because that's like on the tip of my brain, some comps for this book per your description. But I think would be helpful.
Where'd you go, Bernadette?
Right, you did. Right. Where'd you go, Bernadette? Yeah.
And Eleanor Oliphant is totally fine.
It's
got that kind of,
so it's got the quirkiness to it. Yeah, but also compelling story and
exactly.
unusual location. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Julia.
Sure.
All right, Dave.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm so excited to talk about this book. This is one of our absolutely biggest releases at Chronicle of the year, of the season. This hit stores yesterday and is going out into the world. This is the monstrous and massive The Grateful Dead by Jim Marshall. A spectacular, big, lavish photo book celebrating California's own, San Francisco's own, the Grateful Dead in their formative years, which really are considered to be 1966 to 1977. Photographed by, really, there is no more legendary rock and roll photographer than the late Jim Marshall. I think if your band was photographed by Jim Marshall, and I think this held true in the 60s, late 60s and early 70s, till now, if your band was photographed by Jim, you had made it, and you were absolutely embedded in stone as an absolute legend band because Jim touched you. He was as much of a rock star as the bands that he photographed. He was notorious in his methods, an unpredictable guy, a loose cannon, a larger-than-life figure, and his personality comes across in this book. Even though it is a celebration of the Grateful Dead, it's also very much about his immersion in their world. He ran into them in Haight-Ashbury in the late 60s as they were beginning. They played on the street. They played at county fairs. Jim was welcomed into their kind of inner sanction, or inner sanctum and inner world, and just went full throttle into the counterculture with the Dead. I want to point out the beautiful psychedelic trippy-ass binding here on the side. No, you are not on a tab of acid. You are just a beautiful printed edge of a book. I'll stop blabbing and I will show you some incredible images inside. And I also want to read a few quotes about Jim and about the band. Here is band leader Jerry Garcia in his resplendent hairy splendor. Here's a great photo. I hope you can see this, of the band flipping the bird to Jim lying on the ground, which sums up the kind of irreverent spirit of the Dead and of Jim and the band. I just want to read this. I love this quote so much. It must have been about 63 when I met Jim Marshall. We got along pretty well, but Jim was super competitive. He was a whole different person from me, like apples versus kumquats. Jim was a gonzo, gun-toting, coke-sniffing journalist. Jim was really ambitious and really hardworking. He had a work ethic that was second to none, which I couldn't even begin to achieve. I did work pretty hard getting the stuff I did get, but nothing like him. Jim would kick down a dressing room door to get a picture. I was just the opposite. To me, taking a camera out and putting it in somebody's face was intrusive. That's why I didn't do candid backstage stuff. To me, it was kind of an invasion of privacy. I could never do that. I had to have an assignment to do it. We were two totally different people. Jim was like a wolf and I was like a rabbit. Jim had a side of him that was really great and loyal and all that. And he also had a darkness which dominated his life. That's Herbie Green, another renowned music photographer. But basically, Jim was not afraid to take intimate portraits of the band. There are backstage photos, quiet moments, amazing, like just crowd moments at some of these famous shows, in public spaces in San Francisco and the Bay Area. He gets these amazing candids, these sort of outtakes. A third of the images in this book have not been seen before and came from Jim's estate. The two people that put the book together, who are Amelia Davis and David Gans, work for the estate and were able to give like unprecedented access to these images. Full disclosure, I am not a Grateful Dead fan, but I am a total rock music fan and rock history fan, and I find this, even as a non-fan, totally mesmerizing to look at. It really captures the period, the time, kind of like a roughly 11-year stretch of this group that, whatever your feelings are about them, there's no denying that they're one of the greatest California rock bands ever. And they just typify like the psychedelic rock movement. Maybe Dave is a Fish fan. Hey, Amanda. I'm wearing my Sonic Youth shirt because Sonic Youth are my Grateful Dead, a band that have been around for decades and decades and are sadly no longer existing. But maybe one day when I'm still doing this at 80, I can talk about a Sonic Youth book. I'm going to push for it with our editors. Anyways, this just landed yesterday. Dead and Company, which is a Dead tribute band. I thought it had members of the original group in it, maybe not. I don't really know. They played 3 concerts this past weekend in Golden Gate Park on August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So San Francisco was absolutely inundated with Deadheads. Lots of grilled cheese sandwiches to eat out of the back of cars at tailgating parties. And this book is all over the place, and it is a big deal. There's also a really nice CBS Sunday Morning report on it. That is excellent. It's on YouTube if you just search Grateful Dead CBS Sunday Morning. It has interviews with Amelia and David. It's really cool. So Grateful Dead, Jim Marshall out now. Grab it. Trip out.
And Ginny, who herself has taken she's got a rock and roll photography book out, as we know, which, Joey will post the link to in a second. I have to give him time. But she says what you read about Jim, very true. Thanks for that, Ginny. I'm sure you have some unique insight on it. They were huge. Absolutely. And what you said is totally true, Dave. Like, you don't have to. I'm personally also not a Grateful Dead fan, but I've been surrounded by Grateful Dead fans. I mean, like adjacent since college. And there's no denying the movement, right? And the minutia. Thank you, Joey. There's Ginny's book. Trout Mask Replica, right? That's what it's called. And no, Jim was rude to you. Yeah, well, it comes, they all read a Led Zeppelin bio. It's all there. As big a fan as you can be. Grievous Angels, Trout Mask Replica is the other thing. Got confused. All right, thank you. Grievous Angels, Trout Mask, and American Beauties. Thank you. Sorry about that. Anyway, no denying they were huge. No denying that even if you're not a fan, somebody who is, and who this book is an absolutely perfect gift for. I can think of at least half a dozen people off the top of my head, including my sister, who, if she was here, would be giving us the dates for all of these things that you couldn't remember, and names. So a beautiful looking book as well. I think, did you say it's out now?
Out now. Came out yesterday.
Out now. Yeah. So perfect, a perfect book to buy and give as a gift or for yourself. And I'm looking forward to looking through it as well, because it's absolutely beautiful book. So thank you, Dave. All right, Brittany, your last book of the day.
Okay, so Julia talked about a house favorite earlier, and I'm going to talk about one of ours at Macmillan, and it is called The Hounding. It came out yesterday, and when I say this book is bananas, I mean it is like truly bananas. So gosh, where do I even start? This is a weird feminist literary historical fiction. It's basically the tale of 5 sisters in this sleepy 18th century town in England, and the townspeople suspect that these girls may be turning into dogs. And so the story is told from the perspectives of these sort of village inhabitants. It's very eclectic, the collection of people. And it really kind of explores society's treatment of girls. And there's a lot about like transformation, hysteria, the dangers of teenage girls, like all of this that's happening in this book. It's fascinating, it's interesting, it's sharp, and it's a debut. And I devoured this book, and I truly believe that Centipede Purpose, the author, is someone to watch, because we were kind of positioning it as The Crucible meets The Virgin Suicides, which sounds like two wildly different things that wouldn't go together. But when you read it, you're kind of like, oh, wait, yeah, I get that pitch. So all I can say is just, it's a little mad, but give it a shot, because it is truly engrossing. And it's one of those books that it just kind of crashes into you, and then it lingers.
So Amanda here says that it would pair well with Night Bitch. Do you think that that's an apt kind of... Night Bitch had a different...
Maybe. I personally, we had a book on our list, also from Holt last year, called Piglet, and I think that this kind of goes really well with Piglet.
Right.
If I was gonna kind of said it was something, I mean, maybe.
So in terms of genre,
it bleeds. It bleeds. I would say, like, more than anything, it's definitely like literary fiction.
Right. I of course cannot remember the name of the book. I'm sorry. In my defense, I do have a sinus infection. I just want everybody to know that. And so that's close to the brain. And that's why anyway. But I can't remember the title of this book about the guy who ate everything, and he was based on a real character. Anyway, I'll look it up and I'll find it later. But it's like weird sort of literary fiction that kind of verges into not fantasy, not horror necessarily, but somewhere adjacent to both of those things. And that's where it sounds like this kind of falls, but it's also I feel like maybe a bit of a choose your own adventure, right? If the writing is good enough, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have it so strictly defined. But I think all of those books that we've been talking about that kind of play with our expectations of what the characters are going to do or become, or genre, I think kind of fits in there a little bit. And I don't think, when you were talking, Crucible and Virgin Suicide sounds spot on to me. So right. The Glutton. Thank you, Amanda. Saved. Thank you so much, Amanda. Yes, The Glutton is the book I'm talking about. That is one of the weirdest books I have ever read, and yet somehow completely compelling. Like, you couldn't put it down. I mean, I just stood there actually behind the counter and read it, and I was like, what is this? It's so weird and gross, and somehow I can't stop reading it. Anyway, so you got us all talking. Thanks, Brittany. You said this is out now, right?
Yeah, it came out yesterday, August 5th.
Perfect. Thank you. And thanks, Joey. There's the link for The Glutton as well, which is totally also worth checking out. All right, Julia.
Okay. My last one is a good Hollywood book. It is called Ready for My Close-Up: The Making of Sunset Boulevard and the Dark Side of the Hollywood Dream. So I'm not sure that I've ever shared this in this forum, but one of my first jobs in Los Angeles was giving the Paramount studio tour for Paramount Pictures, and Sunset Boulevard is the sort of shining jewel in the crown of that tour. This book is a great inside look at both the making of Sunset Boulevard and then also the impact that Sunset Boulevard had. I think some people forget it was one of the first real movies and the first big movie to really take on the sort of dark side of Hollywood. People also forget that Gloria Swanson, who played Norma Desmond, had been a famous silent film actress. who had lost her career when Talking Pictures came in, which is the plot basically of Sunset Boulevard, is that she is an aged silent film actress. In the movie, her like butler / chauffeur, the sort of her like man that takes her around, is played by the director who directed Gloria Swanson's final film before she lost her career, until this movie revived it. And so there's a lot of like insider knowledge about that. There's a great scene where she's playing cards with all her old friends. And, you know, if you had watched this movie on the big screen in the 50s, these would have been stars that from a past, but stars that you knew. And one of them, of course, is Buster Keaton at the card table playing cards in the film. And so this is just such a phenomenally written and sort of great book that contextualizes Sunset Boulevard. I think with the musical being back on stage, and Nicole Scherzinger just won a Tony for that musical. I think it's never been more, you know, sort of back in the public eye since it originally came out. And then also it's the 75th anniversary of the movie. So it came out 75 years ago. And like I said, again, this is just a great look at the dark side of Hollywood, how Hollywood sort of eats people up and spits them out. And this was the first movie that ever looked at that. And then there's like sort of an addendum in the story a bit that Gloria Swanson then of course is nominated for an Oscar for this movie. It's the same year that Bette Davis is in All About Eve nominated for an Oscar, and the Oscar voters split, and Judy Holliday wins an Oscar for I don't know. It's I think it has Parade in the title. I forget what the movie is, but a movie that everyone agrees is not the best performance and not the best movie and should not have won the Oscar. But the voters split between Gloria Swanson and Bette Davis. So just a phenomenal book that sort of covers all of that. If you love a Hollywood history, this is a great one. And if you're an Angelino and like to drive around LA, reading about where this was filmed, and reading about sort of, you know, it takes place all over LA, Schwab's drugstore, Sunset Boulevard. It takes place on Sunset Boulevard, of course. But this is just a great book, and I can't recommend it highly enough.
So Dave is, you know, like probably ordering it right now. This is definitely
yeah. Do you need me to send it to you, Dave?
This is definitely a book for Dave. But did such a great job presenting it. I don't have too much to add. It is, I mean, this is as soon as I saw this one pop up as well, I was like, oh, I have to take a look at that one as well. And it is really, it is really fun. It's got all of that. Who doesn't like reading about old Hollywood, actually? It's now that it's gone. I always think of one of my favorite quotes attributed to Mae West is somebody asked her, what advice do you have for young actresses, you know, new actresses come to Hollywood? And she said, take Fountain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get into Hollywood?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I always think about that. I actually used to live right below Sunset Boulevard, and I think about it all the time. It's an absolute classic film and a great and really, really well put together book. So a lot of fun. Like Andrea says, it's just the kind of book she eats up. So perfect. Great pick. Thank you, Julia. All right, Dave, let's bring it home.
Okay, I can't possibly top that because that is just too cool. Quick aside, I love driving around LA and spotting film noir locations. And I save them on my phone as bookmarks, so I know where they are. And we had a friend that lived in the Alto Nido apartments, which is where William Holden lives. And you see the building at the beginning of Sunset Boulevard. That's on Ivar near Franklin, kind of in central Hollywood. So yeah, there's locations everywhere. That looks like a great book. Okay, thanks. Last thing today is, this is really quite remarkable. This Saturday, the 9th of August, will be Bookstore Romance Day. And I'm mentioning that because the book I'm talking about is this incredible boxed edition, the complete collector's edition of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Comes in this absolutely amazing, thank you, that's a nice quarter angle view there. This beautiful swirly marbled hard box. You get 2 volumes. They fit right into this gorgeous box with gold accents and marbleized finish. The entire book from Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. But what this is that kind of like the Great Gatsby thing I talked about a couple weeks ago. And I will talk about that Great Gatsby cookbook again in a few weeks. But in classic Chronicle fashion, we love our vellum envelopes. I think we invented them. Not really. With Griffin and Sabine. But basically,
which
all
we
the
also talked about.
I know, right? Correspondence throughout the book, and the book is filled with correspondence and paper ephemera being mentioned. We basically have recreated a lot of amazing pieces out of the book that you get to the envelope in the course of reading the book, and you pull out something magical each time. Like, for example, I'll show you a few of these. Here is this beautiful little map of the estate that you can take out. Like, the paper craft in here is gorgeous. Everything like lives in these little envelopes, and it's all sort of very nicely tied into the sort of sequence and chronology of the book. Really beautiful end papers. So as you read the book, you can sort of experience all these different things throughout, including a newspaper clipping announcing that Netherfield Park is available to let, which is really cool. It's like a I had so many little pieces to show you, and I knew I was gonna screw up and lose everything within moments, but hey, whatever. There's a newspaper clipping announcing that Netherfield Park is available to let. There's an invitation to the ball at Netherfield recreated, an illustrated guide to Pemberley. I just showed you that. Of course, Darcy and Elizabeth's marriage license. And then the first 4 manuscript pages recreated, historically accurate, of Austen's unfinished novel, The Watsons. The person that put this together was Barbara Heller. She created this in 2020 before she brought it to Chronicle, and then we super zhuzhed it up and made all these amazing kind of papercraft bells and whistles and stuff. But she had pockets throughout the original version, handmade replicas of 19 different letters, from Mr. Collins's unctuous letter of introduction to Jane's urgent missive announcing Lydia's elopement. You pull out each piece, you peruse its contents, and you are transported into the world of the book. So I think this is for anybody that loves Jane Austen, anybody that still cherishes letter writing, physical paper. Getting a letter is just, obviously a thrilling thing, and you can kind of experience it in the world of this book. It's just an immersive experience of one of the most beloved novels of all time. Out yesterday, in stores now, and Pride and Prejudice Collector's Edition.
You guys do the most beautiful, these really are. I mean, they're just the most beautiful editions. And you just, even if you're not a fan, you don't care, it doesn't matter to you, read it, whatever. You want this. You just do. You want it, and you want to give it to someone. And I love all of this stuff. It's great. And especially now where everything is always completely digital and electronic and everything.
Right.
And even if you don't want it to be digital and electronic, they're forcing it on you. And it's so great to hold, to have something like this to hold and open and, and touch the tactile stuff. Yeah, absolutely. This is gorgeous. Did you tell us what the price point was on this?
Oh gosh.
Just so we
know.
know.
The bar. Hold on. Hang on. I'll tell you. I should know this is the rep, right?
Yeah, just as
I think it's
a reference.
60.
Yeah.
See if our internal system is
perfect. It is $80.
80. Goodbye through me at 60. Yeah, it is indeed 80.
Yeah. So again, a gorgeous something you definitely want in your own library, but I think so many of these are just amazing gifts to give as well, and perfectly in time dropping for a bookstore romance day. I think it'll be a big item coming up. So that is a really great way to end Elevenses today, with some phenomenal books. See, I told you we were going to have some amazing books today. It really is. It really has been just such a great season for I have way too many books, and too little time, but what a great problem to have. So, thank you all so much for coming today and sharing all of these fantastic books. You guys are the best. Really appreciate it. Dave Ehrlich from Chronicle Books, Julia Callahan from Hachette, Brittany Greenway from Macmillan. We miss you, Brittany. You have to come on more often. And thank you, Joey, for really being so nimble with all of the links today. Really appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. To showing up. We've got a lot of you out there today. We appreciate it. We're going to be back again next week. We'll have more reps and many more books, and we will hopefully see you then. And in the meantime, everybody have a great week. Enjoy your reading someplace cool, because I think it's going to be hot. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everybody.